Hey, everybody. What's going on? Coming to you from Nashville, Tennessee, it's Hey Rockstar. Oh, I'm your host, Josafat Emiliano, and this is my faithful sidekick, Miguel. We're just glad to be here once again on this Thursday. Thank you for getting the message that we changed the time to 7:35. That had to do with just a change in my work schedule. We're still mixing around with this, and we'll see where we go from there. Before we continue on, oh yeah, Hey Rockstar is a show promoted and dedicated to the Big Five. Because we believe that if you pour into your life in the physical, spiritual, mental, social, and financial, well, what we hope to do is empower you to grow value into those five areas in your life so that you can then become the rock star of your industry. And let's see what else. Hey Rockstar is affiliated with Low Budget Productions. Boom. If you guys are actually watching on Facebook right now, go to Low Budget Productions, like their page, and that will get you into our community. And from there, you'll have access to see other podcasts that are built to entertain you, educate you, and empower you. And if you happen to be a podcaster or want to be a podcaster, reach out to us, please. We are constantly adding onto our family because honestly, we don't know what we're doing, but we're having fun figuring it out and helping each other. We bounce ideas back and forth from one another, and it's just a great place for those who would like to podcast and learn more about that. What else do I want to share with you guys? Actually, let's pull this down right now, and let's switch over to this. Boom. Boom, baby. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. And thank you for sharing. If you're watching on Facebook, well, thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing this with your friends, your community, your network. And here pretty soon, I hope to be on Twitch. I've been looking and learning and figuring it out. So why not stream on another platform for anyone else who would like to learn more about this? But enough small talk, enough chatter. Let's get to the main reason that you guys are here. The story. Episode 7. I hate surprises. All right. I told my producer that I had to get ready mentally for this one. Definitely had to get ready mentally for that. Surprises. We all love them. We love Christmas because that's usually when we're supposed to get surprised, unless someone decides to make a list to kind of tell the family, this is what I want for Christmas. No surprises. Just kidding. But this is not a Christmas story. This is, well, most of you know that I live in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm originally from Texas, and my family, almost all my family still lives there in Texas. I try to go home to visit at least once, if not twice a year. Sometimes I'm lucky enough to do 3 times a year. But I learned a while back that I need to at least let one of my parents know that I'm coming into town, because I like to kind of surprise them and just kind of show up. But I learned that if I don't do that, one time I actually showed up on a plane. I got home and I found out my parents my dad had gone to speak in Mexico and took my mom with him. So I'm like, well, at least my brother's there, so we hung out for the weekend, and then I came back. So now I know just to. But in one of these famous trips that I took, I knew that both my parents were going to be there because I had talked to my siblings, and something happened where a buddy of mine who used to work for Southwest, he said, "Hey man, I have an extra ticket or some kind of voucher." So anyway, the deal is he was able to fly me down for free if I wanted to, and I said, "Well, hey, I want to go for this weekend." So he hooked it up. I did talk to my sister to let her know that I was going to show up a day early, and then the goal was to crash at her place. And then the next morning, I think my parents were supposed to go to like visit the doctor in town. And I thought, what better way than to just show up and surprise them there? And my sister was off the next day, so sure enough, I show up, crash that night. Next morning, we go to surprise my parents, and I just walked in like nothing. I walked in, the hostess there, or whatever you call secretary. She goes, "Oh, can I help you?" Like, "Oh yeah, I'm with Samuel Emiliano," and she goes, "Oops, I shouldn't have said his name. Oh well, ta-da, I'm with him," and she's like, "Oh yeah." He just went in. So I walked in. They didn't ask anything else. I'm not going to say which doctor this was, but they didn't ask anything else. They just let me walk in through the back. And she directed me to which room he was in. And I opened the door. And my mom and my dad looked at me like, "Whoa, what are you doing here?" I'm like, "Surprise." And like, well, this is a pleasant surprise. And immediately when I got there, the doctor walked in right behind me, and with sternness in his face, actually, my dad's like was all proud. He goes, "Oh, this is my son." He goes, "Oh, okay." And then he just looked straight to my mom. My dad says, "I just looked at these results. We need to take you to the hospital for an emergency, or just there's something serious here, and we need to double check." And I'm just like, it's supposed to be a joyous occasion, and suddenly, like, what's going on? Well, my and the doctor's like, "Hey, can you drive?" Asking my mom, and like, "Well, if you want, I'll drive for them." And mom's like, "Oh yeah, my son can drive us." So I got him. I took him to the hospital, and they took my dad in, my mom in, and they did a scan, and they found uh, triple clogged arteries, and they said we need to operate immediately because my dad was feeling like pain, but more like just weakness and just short of breath, and he just wasn't feeling good, and basically his heart was at a point of giving up because of the three clogged arteries. And so they quickly they said, we're sending in the expert, we're bringing him in, and he showed up, and they started talking to my mom, and he's like, "We needed to get this right away." And of course I'm still in the shock of, I just got there to surprise my family, and all of a sudden they're talking about my dad's about to die in front of my eyes unless we do something. And I had no time to respond, but all right, I started texting. Of course, my best friends both live in West Texas, so I text them, and then we let other family members know, and sure enough, they're like, "Oh, let's prep," and they started immediately working on him. They started to get things ready. And I called work. Thankfully, at the time, the work I had at the time, they understood, and they said, "Hey, man, don't worry. Take all the time you need. Just let us know when you're ready to come back. Just for now, be there with your family." And so I just had to go from the mindset of, okay, I need to be here now for my family, or I had to come from I'm just here for a quick little vacation, to like, okay, I need to be here and attend to people, because although my mom is very strong, and of course my siblings were there too. Uh, but anyway, let's just skip over to the part where they start operating on him, and it's taking longer than the doctor said, and it's taking even longer and longer, and people are there, and I do remember sensing mixed emotions, but I never really thought of like the loss, or never really thought about, oh, what's going to happen if he doesn't, because it was a high risk. Even the doctor said at the meeting, when he was talking to my mom and dad, they're like, "This is a high risk operation." And my dad just looked and he goes, "Hey, man, I'm okay. I have peace. Let's do this. Whatever happens, happens. If we can extend it, dude. And if not, I mean, I've lived a good life." He had that kind of attitude. Of course, the rest of my family's like, "No, let's preserve as much as we can." I know my dad's church definitely was like, "No, we need to keep our pastor long as possible." But it definitely was a moment that shaped us. I got a text message, and I wanted to make sure I wasn't muted. I'm not. We learn from our lessons. We learn from our mistakes. I do remember at one point when the doctor was finally done, and called my mom in, and my older sister went in. I think even Abby went in, but if not, for sure, I kind of waited back because a lot of people. Then finally, I went in, and basically, what the doctor said, he said we went in and we started working, and the reason it took longer because while we were in there, we found out that he had four clogged arteries, so it became a quadruple bypass that he had to do and take veins from other places. It was insane. It was a miracle. Just as I could say that he says that he made it through. He's still working. The heart's still a little weak, and my dad's always had thin blood, so they've had to. That was another worry about just internal bleeding and all that such. And but he was alive. He was still there. But and I guess the scarier part. But they said that was the hard part, but it's not the scary part because he's still not guaranteed. They still couldn't give you a guarantee. They're like at maybe a 50-60% guaranteed. Well, actually, when he first went in, he was like at 50, 45 to 50% guarantee. After that, they had gone up to at least 60% guarantee that he was going to pull out of this. And he goes, we just got to wait and see and keep him here at the hospital. But I remember one time, I was just, just seeing the people, just the amounts of people who came to support from my dad's church, from my dad's family, my mom's family, people who knew my dad would just come to just be there with the family, and it definitely was just overwhelming to see how many people cared about my dad at that time. And I remember before the hard part. That really wasn't the hardest part. I'm gonna share a few more areas of this story, but I'm gonna give y'all a tender moment in my life because I grew up, and I know this is a touchy subject, but I'm not one to well, whenever I was younger, I'm not one to easily cry. Wasn't one to easily cry. Actually, before that happened, I could count on my hands the number of times I had cried. Uh, and this happened back in 2014, 2016. But anyway, I remember the worst of it had gone. People were just kind of in the lobby, and my best friend showed up, and we kind of moved off to just away from the crowd, just three chairs, and they're just there with me. They're like, yeah, we know your dad's, but we're here for you. And I just remember having just to sit there. It's like, guys, what the heck? I might not have said heck, but I'm like, this was scary. This is not what I came for. I was supposed to come for a happy moment, and right now, just I don't know, it just became real. And I didn't sob, I didn't go but I did just tear up, and both of them put their hands on me, and they're like, dude, we know it's okay. If you need to cry, let it go. We're not gonna jab at you this time. But it was a moment of just brokenness, of just seeing how close this came. But the hard part happened afterwards, because my dad was still at a 70% probability. Not so much. Not we weren't at least 90%, maybe more like 79%, 80. But they still wanted to keep him in the hospital, and my mom needed rest. And usually my brother's the one who will go in there, and he'll stay the night. For my grandparents, he did that, and everyone just assumed. But when they pulled my dad out, and they had him still kind of in drugs, and because he was in pain, they said he's gonna be in a lot of pain. We got him highly drugged up. They had tubes in his nose, tubes one in his mouth, and he was just pipes or tubes out of everything, and they even had a catheter and a crap bag, all that stuff, because he wasn't getting out of that bed by himself. It's something very humbling when the man in your life that you look up as a hero, as a strong person, you see him just so susceptible, so weak, so vulnerable. I'm like, dang. And my brother, he told my mom, I can't see him like this, and he left. I know that I kind of like, what, but I thought, you know what, I'll do it. I'll stay with him. I'll stay with him. One of the moments that really hurt was when he opened his eyes. He looked at me and he was just like, he was like asking for water. He just wanted a drop of water, and I couldn't give him any. Just something, and that I couldn't give him because of the pipes going through his nose and his mouth that were into his lungs. If any kind of liquid, it would have gone to his lungs, and then we'd had a whole other problem. And he just looked at me, just kind of like, why aren't you helping me? And then he'd pass out because of either the pain or the meds. It was tough. And then when he would scream and open his eyes, and you could tell that he was just lost in thought, like, this hurts, this is pain. All I could do was either sing hymns to him, or I'd get my Bible, I'd start reading the Bible to him until he would just pass back asleep. And nights weren't easy, because I couldn't sleep at night. I had to be awake for any kind of moment, any kind of pain. Even though the nurses were there checking every hour, I was still there to make sure that maybe I would take like a 10-15 minute power nap as they were checking on him. And then as they were walking out, they just tapped me and like, all right, we're done. Because I'd ask them, please, don't let me sleep. I can sleep when I'm done. And so the schedule became, at nights, I would stay with my dad, and my mom would stay at my sister's. And then whenever she'd wake up, showered up, and got ready to come, then Abby would bring her before she go to work. And then at that point, I would take the car, and I'd go to her house, and I'd take a nap, and then I'd get up, I'd shower, eat something, and then go back to the hospital until it's time for mom to leave again. And so that was our schedule. She was there during the daytime, I was there during the nighttime, and all until they finally pulled when they finally pulled the pipes out. That was a definitely a chance to kind of take a break, because then other people could stay. At that time, then my brother like, okay, I can help you guys out, but I get it. I don't blame him. No son really wants to see their father, their hero, in such a vulnerable place, such a vulnerable position. But I do remember before coming back to Tennessee, when they finally let him out of the hospital, and he was sitting, I don't know, I took a picture of him. He was just sitting outside in his chair with his huge Bible and just reading. This man just went through a life threatening or just a near-death experience. And he went back to the only thing that he can fight in, the only thing he's found a mental anchor in. Now, I'm not here to preach that scripture or that the Bible is the right way, although some people would tell me I should be saying that. I'm just saying that that's where I have found my truth and where I have found my stability. A lot of my mental strength comes from my beliefs, my faith. I know people will quote about it or say stuff about how it's just a book of stories, and well, in a way, it's okay for me. I choose to believe those stories are true, and I, just the same way as I know these stories that I'm speaking to you are true to me, and they really did impact me. But through it all, I guess the whole reason I was trying to find a good story to hit with you guys with the topic of mental strength, because I really didn't know. I really didn't know that I could do something like that. I didn't know that I had it in me to be able to go sleepless nights, to be the strong one. I later on, my sister, one of my sisters thanked me. She goes, we thank. I'm thankful that you were able to come and your job let you come, because we really needed you to be strong as you were through that moment. And guys, I'm the clown in my family. I'm the one who jokes around and plays around a bit too much, some people would say. because that's the way that I tend to cope. That's my coping mechanism: laughter and joyful. That's why the video I did on Monday about disappointment, I said, and some people just laugh and say, "Well, this sucks," because that's kind of my something bad happens. I have to laugh it off and like, well, let's do it. But I also realized that, well, we need to get through. We need to go through it. Then we'll go through it. It's got to get done. We'll figure it out. There's a country song out saying, if you're going through hell, keep on running. Don't stop. Just keep moving. You might get out before the devil even knows you're there. But anyway, that's the story of I Hate Surprises, episode 7. Let me take a little break to see who is on right now. Hi, Joe. Hi, Javi. Wait, did Joe really tag Javi's name on it? That's cool. And we got a hi from Lonnie. What's up, my brother? All right. I don't even know what the time is on this. Oh, okay, cool. It's only 27 minutes. Dr. Pepper. I don't know what else to say. I don't know what else to do. The story was short today. Miguel, did you like that story? I did too. You guys didn't hear him, but I heard him. Y'all, once again, Hey Rockstar is a partner, or just we are under the umbrella of Low Budget Productions, a place where you can go and find other podcasts that are designed to entertain, educate, and empower you. And if you are a podcaster or thinking about doing a podcast and would like to join our community of storytellers, of entertainers, and would like to just figure out how to do a podcast, join us, reach out to us, contact us. We would love for you to be part of our family, and we'll help promote one another. We'll help encourage each other. We bounce off ideas to give one another ideas on how to continue next show. And actually, I am working on Hey Rockstar, the podcast. Next Monday, hopefully by then, I will be able to launch. It's nothing new. I'm just basically taking the audio from here and converting it to a podcast. So when it happens, I probably won't make a big deal about it, but definitely will let you know when it's ready. But do I have it on here? Let me go to the branding. I'll go back to you guys in a bit. Yeah. So wherever you look at your podcast, look for this, the Hey Rockstar podcast logo, and you'll know that is genuinely our podcast. Let's see. Oh, I got a few more shout outs here. Lonnie, dude, it has been a minute since our days back in Bible studies and movie nights and all that fun stuff. I do love your memes, my man. I love the memes that you've been posting on Facebook. Thank you for that. Who else we got? And I am planning to go entering next year to DFW for a friend's wedding. If I can get a few extra days from work, I'd definitely like to catch up with you, man. Let's see, who else? Aw, there's Abby. The one she was the true hero. She let Mama and I stay at her house during that whole time. And of course, Cesar Rodriguez. Hola, amigos. All the way from Little Andrews, America. Guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for listening to our little story today. So all the way from Nashville, from my house to yours, to your house, to your car, to wherever you're listening, or wherever you are. Just know that I truly desire that you have much love and many blessings. Wait. Another shout out. Who's this? Oh my gosh, Kitty. Definitely has been a minute since you, my brother. I should throw like a Dallas party, or anyone who was associated with me back in the DFW. I like to say, hey, I'm here, guys. Let's have a party, a post beer bug party, because that's what we call the great mishap of 2020. Anyway, I already said the exit. I don't know what else to do, Miguel, except to say thank you for listening. Episode 7. So, historically, we are a legit show. We made it to episode 7. I'm so excited. And here's the cool thing. I have a few interviews lined up coming up. So, I'm going to start bringing other people's stories to the mix. So, I'm sure you're excited. And if you have an empowering story that you'd like to share, just let me know, and we'll get that situated. So, once again, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, this is Josafat Emiliano and Miguel wishing you and telling you much love and many blessings.